welcome back to Urban Rhino Tutorials. On this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your subject appear like they are backlit. So we're adding backlighting into the picture, and right now I have Vivian, and she is supposed to be the tooth fairy. So because of this really bright moon, she would have light coming at her back, and right now she doesn't. So when you're creating a composite, it's very smart to keep your layers separate, your subject layer separated from the background until you are 100% sure that you're done and ready to move on in the next steps of editing. But by keeping her separate, I'm able to do this next step much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a duplicate layer, and I'm going to go up I'm going to hit the selection tool, and I'm going to select her, and because she's a separate layer, it will grab her very easily. I'm going to click off the wand. I don't need it there, and it's separate. I'm going to make sure I got all of her hands. Okay, so from here, you're going to right click and go into, actually from here, before you do that, you want to create a new layer. So you want this to be its own separate little layer. You're going to go into stroke. So I just right clicked and hit stroke, and I'm going to keep it at 20. I want the color to be white because of that very bright white moon. And I'm going to make sure that the location is set to outside. If it's on the inside of the line, you're going to cover up a lot of your subject. The same with the center, so I would set it to outside. Hit OK. So now I have this area around her. We can delete that off later. And we don't need the copy of her anymore, so we're going to delete that out. And while you are still on the layer that has the actual selection, just deselect it, and you can see the little glow there. So what I'm going to do is create a layer mask, and I'm going to brush that off of, and I don't need the copy of her anymore. I'm going to brush it off of these areas here that I don't need it, and I wouldn't have it at the windowsill base. That would actually be, you know, in shadow there. So kind of like that. These are just parts that got picked up when I moved her over that I must have missed when I was brushing her off. Okay, so from here, you can add her back in for now, but when that layer is selected, so this is just the layer with the white outline, you want to go into Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and you want to set that to, we're going to go, you got to kind of experiment with it. You don't want it to be too bright. I think about 27 there, that's good. And I want to move it behind her. Right now it's on top of her, so it's kind of blurring her face. So there you go. So you can see that. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a second copy of this blur. So I'm going to go to duplicate layer, and you can see how it made it brighter, and I'm going to make it just slightly smaller. What that's going to do is make it smaller and bring it down. Whoops, wrong one. Let's try that again. So a little bit smaller. And what that will do is it will just give me a little bit more of that kind of really bright glow in certain areas. So again, let me make it a little smaller. And I just want it on one side of her. And I'm going to kind of brush it off of where I don't need it. And the layers, if you don't like them, you can, lower the opacity. I'm going to brush it off quite a bit off of this side because I feel like the glow is going to be more here. The other thing that you can do is add, even more of a glow. So I've got that one, and then I have this. And you can kind of just play around with them. The other thing you can try to do is mess with the settings. So if you go to, you scroll through these, and you can see how they kind of affect the image differently. Some will show up, so like this one shows up more of a blue-ish kind of light, which I actually really like. So I think I'm going to keep that one set as that kind of blue glow, and then here's the white glow. So she's got both of those now. I'm going to experiment, a little bit more. I'm going to make another copy that makes her a little bit brighter and add more of a blur to that one, just until I get it, the way I want. So I'm going to add a lot more of a blur there. Let's see. Takes a little back and forth. Okay, I think that's good there. And I'm going to lower the opacity of that one because that's really bright. It'll look like she's completely glowing. Okay, so from here, I'm going to merge these layers together. Actually, first I'm going to brush off what I don't want, and then I'll merge the whole thing. So I'm going to mess around with this a little bit more. Like I said, I'm going to brush off kind of what I don't want in certain places. I don't want very much of it over here. Take off a little bit here. And a little more there. And this one, maybe just a tad more. Okay, I think I'm good with that. So when I link these together, so you can see this is the before and this is the after. So now she appears to have that light at her back. She doesn't really seem like she's just cut and pasted into the picture. She blends in a little bit more. And from here, I'm going to continue on editing, do everything to make her eyes pop, all that fun stuff. I'm going to add her wand back in. And if you stay tuned, right after this, you'll see the complete speed edit from start to finish on my little tooth fairy picture here. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you stay connected with Urban Rhino on social media. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and of course, subscribe to our channel.